Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. I just want to go over this. An ephah is a bushel. It's a dry measurement. A bath is 9 gallons. That's a wet measurement. And a homer is 10 bushels. And a giraffe is 1/20th of a shekel. And a shekel, 1 pound, is equal to 40 shekels. So 0.31 ounces or 9.7 grams is a shekel. And a hin is 1.5 gallons or 5.7 liters, a wet measurement. Now we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is Leviticus 26, verse 21. Then if you walk contrary to me and are not willing to obey me, I will bring on you 7 times more plagues according to your sins. I will also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children, destroy your livestock, and make you few in number. And your highways will be desolate. And if by these things you are not reformed by me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you, and I will punish you yet 7 times more for your sins. And I will bring a sword against you that will execute the vengeance of the covenant. When you are gathered together within your cities, I will send pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. When I have cut off your supply of bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall bring back your bread by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied. And after all this, if you do not obey me, but walk contrary to me, then I also will walk contrary to you in fury, and I, even I, will chastise you 7 times more for your sins. You shall eat the flesh of your sons, and you shall eat the flesh of your daughters. And I will destroy your high places, cut down your incense altars, and cast your carcasses on the lifeless forms of your idols. And my soul shall abhor you, and I will lay your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries to desolation. And I will not smell the fragrance of your sweet aromas. And I will bring the land to desolation. And your enemies who dwell in it shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the nations and draw out a sword after you. Now I've been doing some study on where the 10 northern tribes went to after they were sold into slavery by Mosul, Iraq, the Ninevites, the Assyrians. Over a 200-year period took the 10 northern tribes. Now, the Spanish had the Spanish Inquisition. Now, when the Pope sent the Spanish, the Catholics, they sent the Catholics after the Jews, and the Spanish killed all the Jews in Spain, or either ran them over into France. So during the Inquisition of 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, the Spanish also had the Inquisition, and all the Jews in Spain were killed by the Catholics. And that was the Pope's doings. And then so the ones that weren't killed, they ran into France, and the Reubenites, the oldest of the 12 brothers, the Reubenites ended up in France. Now, where the other tribes went to, Manasseh, I made a mistake on Manasseh. When Jacob gave out his his blessings. He crossed his arms like this. And he gave Manasseh Ephraim's blessings and Ephraim blessings from Manasseh. So Manasseh came to the United States and Canada. And Ephraim, the largest, I thought because Ephraim was the largest of the 10 northern tribes, that they came to the United States and Canada. But Ephraim went to England. And you got the Union Jack with a cross. All the countries in the British Empire have that cross. Australia, New Zealand, British Empire, the Union Jack. It's got the cross on it. So Ephraim went to England and the different countries of the British Empire. Now, Poland opened their arms to the Jews. And over 3 million of the Jews that Hitler killed during World War II, out of the 6 million Jews that Hitler killed in the death camps, over 3 million of them were Polish Jews. Because Poland opened their arms to the Jews. And so did the Ukraine. So what do you got? Why did God love Jacob and hate Esau, even when they were in their mother's womb? That's Romans 9 and Malachi 1. Tells you in the Old Testament and the New Testament. The hairy-armed, hairy-chested, red Russian bears, they're fighting over there in the Ukraine against Jacob's bunch, the Jews. So you got a bunch of Jews in the Ukraine, and you got a whole bunch of Jews in Poland. And like I said, over 3 million of the Jews killed by Hitler, they were killed in the death camps in Poland. The Germans built a bunch of death camps in Poland. And when the Russians were coming to defeat the Germans, right outside of Warsaw, Poland, the capital of Poland, they just sat there. And they let the Germans kill just as many Jews, because the Jews, all they had was machine guns and rifles, and the Germans had tanks and artillery. And so they slaughtered the Jews in Warsaw, Poland. And the Russians, the hairy-armed, hairy-chested, red Russian bears, they just sat there and watched the whole thing go down for a pretty good period. And they let the Germans work on the Jews. And then finally, the Russians went into Warsaw after a good portion of the Jews were killed in Warsaw. So a large portion of those other tribes ended up in Poland and the Ukraine. Now, they were sold into slavery. The 10 northern tribes were sold into slavery to the Greeks mostly by the Assyrians. And so the Greeks, over the years, they won their freedom from the Greeks. So there was still a bunch of Jews in Greece, and they went all over Europe. The master builders, the masons, they built all those great stone buildings all over Europe. So evidently the Spanish, they didn't get many great stone buildings built because they killed all the Jews during the Inquisition. So we're going to continue on here. This is Leviticus 26, verse 33. And I will scatter you among the nations and draw out a sword after you, and your land